Hello, it's Philip Taylor speaking from Richmond Green Chambers in London, and today I'm looking at an important subject for those at the family law bar. It's Pensions on Divorce, a Practitioner's Handbook, now in a third edition, been written by a number of people: Fiona, His Honour Judge Edward Hess, David Lockett and Rhys Taylor. It comes to us from LexisNexis Family Law, the old Jordan's publishing imprint. And I've given the title for the book review the following: The Go-To Bible for Family Remedy Litigation in an Often Tricky Area for the Parties. This is about remedies, and it's about specific areas of remedies. Let's look at the book first of all. There it is. There's the front, there's the spine, and then there's the back. There's a lot of detail. I'll mention a bit of it in the review. This is an important book. It's a paperback. It runs to 600 pages. You will find the index at the back is by paragraph numbering, and just to show you there, that's the beginning of it. After that, if I work backwards, you've got a glossary, which is quite useful. It's a slightly different structure that Lexis are using here, but the glossary is at the back. Then you've got a number of forms and various other things in the appendices. If I go to the front of the book, there is the front page itself, and then after that you've got the blurb and then detail about the authors themselves, which is very useful. Then there's a preface from Lord Justice McFarlane, and this is the forward to the third edition. Now, of course, Lord Justice McFarlane is now the President of the Family Division, with effect from the 28th of July of this year, 2018, and it's a very useful quote. I haven't actually quoted from McFarlane in this, but I think it's quite important. Mostyn does the actual forward to the second edition, Mr. Justice Mostyn, and then to the first edition we have Matthew Thorpe, Mr. Justice Thorpe. Now, in fact, I think it's Lord Justice Thorpe, if I remember correctly. I may be wrong. There's a preface anyway to the third edition, and that is worth reading because it specifically says what the new inclusions are in this book. Then there's the contents section. There's a lot of detail in the contents section, as you can see. You should be able to find what you're looking for here quite quickly. See a lot of chapter headings all running all the way through, and then as you see all the various pension schemes that are covered depending on what you've got. There's a lot of detail. It depends really very much on how much of a battle you've got with the other side as to what you're looking for. These are all the various pension schemes that are covered, and there's a lot of detail. Basically, the last chapter is chapter 21, which looks at the private sector schemes. For instance, British Airways are mentioned and various other ones. Then the Section C covers relevant legislation right at the back, and then there are miscellaneous materials in Section D, which is effectively the appendices, if you like. Then you've got the statutory table after that, and then you've got some SIs, and then after that you've got some European legislation, and then you've got the case law itself. And the case law, there's not that much of it, you'd be relieved to know. In fact, what they've done is they've added some European stuff at the bottom there as well, so it's all in one place. So Section A, Law and Procedure. This is, of course, very much a practitioner's guide. You see the structure, paragraph numbering at the sides, cases mentioned very, very quickly as well. As you can see, there is there's a little bit of footnoting in various places, but generally speaking, a very important book. And it's actually, if I can just explain, in case you're looking, the sections are A, B, C and D, and so look for the C, depending on where you're looking for at the top, it will tell you which part of the book you're in. We're about halfway through the book in section C. As I say, I'm very impressed with this book. I do occasionally have instructions involving a case where there is an argument about the pension Normally we can try and get to some sensible agreement, but not always, and that's when of course it has to be imposed. So what do I say about the book? Well, this. Pensions on Divorce is written by a distinctive author team of family law and actuarial experts under the guidance of LexisNexis Family Law, imprint, originally coming from Jordan's. The book sets out in an accessible, practical style one of the most technical and pitfall-strewn areas of family law, what we would call tricky remedies, the valuation and division of pension rights in divorce settlements. And for practitioners, it can be a tricky minefield as well, when one deals directly with the clients at court in the run-up to the hearing, conference and so forth, because the emotions will run strong and high, and there's people hiding things, which is sometimes one of the biggest problems. So, the new third edition appears at a time when practitioners are still grappling with unprecedented changes in pensions law. Sadly, the upheaval has affected the manner in which pensions rights may be assessed, or accessed rather. In other words, who can get part of the pot, if I can put it as crudely as that, because we're all living longer, and apart from all of the tremendous emotions on a divorce, there are major difficulties which can arise, and that's of course when we have to either turn again to other professionals as lawyers, or to try and advise the client and, if you like, get them to come down off the ceiling a little bit as to what is the realistic prospect of success. Now, the authors of the book are Fiona, His Honour Judge Edward Hess, David Lockett and Rhys Taylor. They've edited this handbook, handy practitioner textbook, for the new third edition brilliantly in our view. We believe that they've succeeded in their aim to present a clear, comprehensive commentary on the law and procedure, covering the following areas depending on what you're looking for. That's the different types of pensions, the powers and procedures of the courts, the actuarial issues involved, and how we can deal with the many different situations that can arise. And there can be some really quite detailed and slightly different from what you would normally think of approaches to the sort of situation that you can have. I mean, we all know the basic problem areas in family law, but sometimes different situations can arise. So we're lucky that the new revised edition contains full details of the major changes that have taken place, including many government-led developments, such as the following. These are pension freedoms introduced in April 2015 by the Taxation of Pensions Act 2014, and of course the introduction of the new state pension in April 2016, which has changed again a lot of things, and there is going to be more of that in the years to come as we all tend to live longer. Of course, these changes have affected the manner in which pensions fail, or pensions rather fall, to be considered by the courts in many financial order applications, and therefore what the intention of the editors has been is to bring them together in a single authoritative source, providing detailed and clear analysis on the topics covered, and they do that. They include, of course, the following types of pensions. They are listed, and you'll find them in the contents section at the front. The state pensions, pension freedoms and divorce, law and procedure in relation to pension sharing orders, law and procedure in relation to pension attachment orders, and pensions on divorce and insolvency. So it really has got most of what you're looking for. Pensions for pensions on divorce, therefore, I'm still getting a wrong title there. Pensions on divorce offers, in addition, solutions for cases in which pension sharing orders are not appropriate. Pension sharing and attachment on dissolution of civil partnerships are covered, and in addition the following: Section 25 factors, fairness and equality in relation to pensions, offsetting, as I said, actuarial issues, the important shorter career public sector schemes, and some longer career public sector schemes which appear to be becoming the norm, and that's bound to happen, of course, with the ageing population. Now, I'm mentioning those because those should cover most of the areas that you're interested in. Let me conclude by saying this. As a one-stop shop then, this advice on divorce covering the thorny issue of pension schemes and how you're going to split it up remains a top title, I think, for the specialist financial advisor and lawyer in this area of law, because we are looking at the issues of what we now call financial remedies, and that's really the basis of the book today. Law is as stated on the 1st of January 2018, and the book was published on the 26th of June 2018. One last look at it. There's the thing, an interesting diagram at the front. I do think it's worth looking at Lord Justice McFarlane, the President of the Family Division's comments, because he says it's the go-to Bible for practitioners, and that's really what I've taken as the title for our review. It's 5 years since the last book came out, so I think we're very lucky to have a new one in. This is actually firefighters' pension schemes. This just gives you an idea of one of the schemes that is covered. You can see the detail. You've got case studies as well, which I think are very useful. This is very much the house style of LexisNexis again, and this book I think will be of great help if you know that that's the only issue when you're dealing with a very acrimonious breakup. This book will be what you need if that is probably the only main issue. But you know what can happen. There could be other ones that suddenly emerge. Anyway, in the meantime, I'd like to thank the team very much. I'd also like to thank LexisNexis and the Family Law imprint for continuing these publications for us. It makes a lot of difference to people like me as practitioners, because we need this sort of additional help in the stress of the advisory process, even prior to the actual advocacy in court. So thank you to all concerned. Bye-bye.